Hi, I'm Mark. Welcome back to Foothill Paint and Fabrication. Well, as you can tell by the long sleeves, it's getting a little chilly around here. It's about 48 degrees in the shop, but that's not going to stop us from getting the final pieces of ruby into epoxy. So we have one fender left to prep, but we have both doors ready to go. The other fender and the nose piece are all ready to go, and that'll be all the pieces of ruby sprayed in epoxy, except the inner fender wells. They're still in bare steel, but they're up in the house, so I'm not going to worry about those for now. We have some modifications due to those. So it's been about 14 months since ruby was dipped, and as you can tell, no rust on any of the panels, and that's just a testament to the process they use there, where they dip it in alkaline solution, then they dip it in phosphoric acid, and that's really what treats this metal so it gets rust off and then stops it from rusting. It doesn't last forever, so I'm really happy to get this done and just get that kind of out of the way and off my mind. So let's jump in here. We're going to get right to work on this fender so we can start hanging these parts and getting some epoxy sprayed. Okay, we're going to get started on the inside. It's kind of a pain in the butt to do the interior on any of these pieces, but we're going to muddle through with wire wheels, Scotch-Brite pads or Duragolds, sandpaper, and whatever else we need to do. So first, you got some ink here that I need to get off that leaked through some holes when I was working on the other side. You don't want to just try to sand that off. You need to clean that off with solvent. And then the rest of it's looking pretty good. There's some ink up in here, so you want to get any Sharpie marks off, any ink or anything like that, because that could interfere with the adhesion of the epoxy, excuse me. And the only rust on this fender, as you guys recall, I spot welded this brace in here because both fenders were cracked up in here. They both did the same thing, but you can tell there's rust right in the heat affected area of that sheet metal. So that cooked off anything that was protecting it, and it flash rusted. But the rest of the fender, no flash rust. So yeah, I'm really happy to get this done today. So let me set the camera down. I'm just going to jump in here. We'll speed through this real quick, get in the interior, we'll flip it over, and then we'll get to work on the exterior, get these things hung, and get them sprayed. Some wax and grease remover real quick, get this thing cleaned up. All right, that crappy job is done. So we just kind of went through everything, whatever it takes to get some sort of metal prep on every little surface we can reach. So not perfect, but some of these areas are super hard to reach, but I did the best I could. I also went through and straightened all the flanges again, and actually ground some of these smoother and flat because they were just kind of rough stamped. So rounded some corners, straightened them out, filed all the edges, rounded them over, sanded them. Because remember, paint sticks to rounded edges way better than a sharp, jagged edge. So Just try to get your edges rounded over. Keeps you from cutting yourself, and when you're resanding, it helps keep from getting sand through. So it's looking pretty good. I just need to vacuum this out. I got a lot of debris in there from sanding, but we are ready to flip this thing over and get to the easy side. All right, this side should be a lot easier. We're going to use the surface conditioning tool on most of it, and then the Scotch-Brite or Duragolds on it. So I just have a board here kind of squeeze clamped over and C-clamped over there so I can handle this thing so it doesn't move around, and I can put some good pressure on it. Already cleaned all the ink off and then just wiped it down with wax and grease remover just now. So we are ready to get going. This shouldn't take long. This will be a lot easier than the other side. Last step, Scotch-Brite, or Duragold anyways. All right, that came out really nice. Glad to get this part over with. All right, let's get Ruby pushed outside and figure out how we're gonna hang up all these parts. All right, we got everything laid out. I got the nose piece over here and the fenders facing inside up. And the plan is to spray both of these, or all three of these, on the inside, get the really good coat in there, and then let it dry while we're working on the doors. And hopefully it'll dry enough, and then we can go ahead and switch it over to the other rack and get it sprayed on the outside. So hopefully that's gonna work out. So to hang the doors, I used the hooks I made for that 50 Chevy I did. And you can just see right here, it's just like a hook, you know, and I actually put a pointed piece on there so there's not much up inside there, so I should be able to spray around it. Just throw a piece of 2x2 perforated up. A piece of pipe would have worked, but I didn't have anything. And just some wire, and we're ready to go. So we can get around to both sides, on the underside, top, bottom, everywhere. And it should come out really good. I'm not worried about overspray on the inside. We already sealed that, so anything else that gets inside there is just gonna be a bonus. But we're looking pretty good. Just need to blow them off. Probably gonna wipe them a little bit, maybe with a tack rag, make sure I got all the dust off, and then we can mix up some epoxy. All right, for the outside of the car, once again, we're using the Napa Martin Senior TP570. It's the Tech Prime Tech Base. This is a true epoxy, so it mixes up 5 parts epoxy, 2-part reducer, 1 part catalyst or activator. And I've mixed this for easy 5, maybe 8 minutes. Then I let it sit a few minutes, scrape the sides really well, and then stirred it again for a few more minutes. You want to make sure that activator is thoroughly incorporated in there. So we'll be using my Evo T, my Astro Evo T 1.4 millimeter tip gun, and we are just about ready to spray. So this epoxy is pretty thick out of the can. It's really, really thick. But once you get the reducer in there, it thins out pretty good, so it's easier to spray. But it builds really well, and it's super tight and kind of glossy when you're done. So opposed to some other epoxies you may spray. But let me get some of this in the gun, back the camera off, and we'll get this thing sprayed. All right, let's get the underside here best we can, and then we'll let them dry. All right, looks like I got a really nice coat up inside there. Hopefully it dries quick enough so we can hang them on the other rack and get the outside. If not, we'll have to hit them tomorrow. But let's move over to the doors and the nose piece and get those done. All right, we got one good coat on everything and it's looking really good. It's nice to see it in epoxy finally after all this time. Now the inside of the fenders, I went ahead and put a second coat on there. That's the only epoxy I'll ever going to spray in there. It may get paint, bed liner, undercoating. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet, but I wanted to get that sealed up super tight since we're never going to do that part again. So it's looking really good. They are starting to dry enough, so I'm going to risk it, and I went ahead and rigged up this rack over here. Hopefully I can just hang them on there and let them droop and then put a board in between to get them to, you know, stay apart. But yeah, the doors are about ready for a second coat, so I got to get moving. We've sprayed about 1.5 quarts so far, so it looks like it's probably going to take probably 3 quarts RTS to cover all these really nice. Okay, here's the setup just in case you guys ever need to hang fenders, you know, in a weird way. So I screwed a couple of boards to the top of this metal rack, and I put a couple of screws just to lift these over and hang on there. You can see them right there. And then, so they're just hanging, the weight's going straight down. And then I did like a prop in between down there. You can see just holding the fenders apart. So it looks like it's going to work pretty good. I'm going to check them real quick, make sure there's no dust or dirt on them, and then I'm going to go ahead and get to spraying again. All right, we got this flipped over. Let's go ahead and get a coat on it. All right, that looks really nice. Our repair looks pretty good. It's going to need a little filler, I'm quite sure, but I think that sheet metal work, I'm getting a little better at it. So the fenders are looking really nice. I do see a little ding here and there that I missed, but we'll just fill those in. But they got one good wet coat on them. Really happy to get these all done today without having to wait. So I'm going to go ahead and get a second coat on the doors, let these fenders flash off, let the nose piece flash off, and get more coats on them, and I'll bring you back when I'm done. We'll take a look at them. All right guys, all done. All we got to do is clean the gun. So the outside of the doors got 3 coats, the fenders got 3 coats, and the nose piece got 3 coats. The underside got 2 on everything, but I had just enough to squeak it out, so I'm pretty happy. So I'm pretty satisfied with the way these fenders came out, all the work we did to them. This one's looking really nice, if you guys can tell, but it's pretty darn straight. So, and we did some work on it. This one over here has the patch panel way back there, and it's got good shape. I mean, it needs to be smoothed out. But pretty happy the way it looks too. It's got a little ripples here and there, but that's what blocking out's for. Now, I'm hesitant to show you guys this door, but I show you guys everything. It's not my proudest moment, but this door is looking really good. This one's the one that's really beat up, and you guys can see it right through there. Right over there, that's that bad spot that I just couldn't get as nice as I wanted. Now, it's going to take some body filler, but I don't want to be one of these guys that sets the camera back 10 feet and just, you know, works on a car and you guys never see what it's really like. But this door right here, looking really nice. I'm really happy with that. So I think we're looking really good when we start blocking. Of course, the nose here, it was perfect from here to there on each side. And I think we got enough epoxy on there to sand some of that out. It's going to take a little bit of filling. But all in all, I'm really happy with the way that sheet metal work came out too. Man, what a long day. It's been a long day because I had to extend the dry times, you know, in between coats because it's still only 50 degrees in the shop, so this stuff is drying a little slow. But still really happy to get it done. Okay guys, that wraps up this video on getting epoxy on the last pieces of Ruby's bare steel. I pushed my luck way too far past a year, and I'm really lucky and happy that nothing flash rusted on me. But we got some really good coats on everything inside and out. I'm really happy to get both sides of the fenders done in one day. So it just took a little finagling. I did get a little epoxy on my shoulder when I was putting that on there, but I wore a shirt that already had some epoxy on it, so that was a good call. But everything's looking really good. All the preliminary sheet metal work we did, all that extra work up front, I think is going to pay off in the end. But it was a good day. Long one, but a good day. Thanks for joining me here at Foothill Paint Fabrication. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Mash that bell and drop me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. We'll see you on the next one.